Story 1. Original post. Am I the a-hole here for not staying with my mom all day while in the hospital? My mom ended up in the hospital yesterday. My sister and her fiancé had to take her because I'm a stay-at-home mom, and my husband works. He uses our only car. My sister was with our mom pretty much all day yesterday. My husband was off today due to it being a holiday, so we went to visit with our almost 3-year-old in tow. My mom has been expecting someone to stay with her all day, which has upset my sister, because not only did she have to cancel plans yesterday, she had to cancel plans for today, because my husband or I didn't stay with my mom to relieve my sister of being at the hospital today. My husband and I do live with my mom. She has been declining for months now, because she refuses to take care of herself, so we've been the main caretakers on top of taking care of our child. We've been doing her laundry, grocery shopping, and all that, on top of doing what we need to do for ourselves and our child. I told my husband, I feel like my sister can sacrifice a couple plans after we've had to sacrifice a lot of our time, because all we do is stay home with my mom when we aren't doing errands. All my sister has done is help with the yard work and nothing else. We get the brunt of my mom's attitude, and it's taking a toll on us. We've had a previous incident back in 2018 that my husband and I had to take care of my mom without my sister's help as well. Am I the a-hole here? Now for the comments. This is one of my pet peeves. I don't know why people think they need to go sit all day and sometimes all day and night with someone in the hospital. When someone is in hospital, they are there to rest and recover. Entertaining isn't helpful. Plus, staff need to get in and out, mess with machines, provide care, etc. Doing this in an obstacle course is difficult. Now, of course, there are exceptions. Someone who is touch and go, bedside vigils are important. Additionally, small children, of course. Visit, bring needed items or requests. Make sure phone is within reach. Then let them rest. My mom feels she needs someone there at all times. When we did visit today, my sister was still there. But when my sister said she needed to leave, we also started getting ready to leave. We had been there for 3 hours with a 2-year-old. My sister had asked if she'd be okay without someone there, and all Mom said was, I guess. Now my sister's fiancé is with her till 9 p.m. My husband tried offering to relieve my sister instead, but I'm sure my mom wanted my sister's fiancé there. No one will be with her all day tomorrow because my sister will be back to work after being on vacation, and I'll be home with my daughter. Husband also had therapy after work, so then it'd be my sister yet again that would visit. Not the a-hole, I get it, but you should absolutely not feel bad about not staying past a visit amount of time. The guilt comes also when one member of the family feels someone should, and then acts like they are dumped on cause other family doesn't stay. That is just manipulative behavior. I have 2 sisters, and one always insisted someone had to stay. So she did, and she made a rotation with her grown kids. My sister and I visited daily about an hour daily, separate times. But we stuck to our belief a round-the-clock sitter was not needed. It is tough, but you will be happier for it. To Mom, I would just say, Mom, you are here to rest and recover. We don't want you feeling like you have to entertain us instead. Just know you are not the a-hole here. Hang in there. She only wants someone there because she doesn't want to be alone, and I totally get that. But it's not right to expect us and manipulate us into being there because we are adults with our own lives too. Visiting hours are from 9 a.m. 9 p.m. Why do we need to be there all day? My sister can visit for an hour or 2 at this time and we can do the same and then go home. Like? That's too much to expect from us. Not the a-hole. There is no need to keep score. Your sister can be annoyed if she wants to, that's not up to you. Your mom can have high expectations, but you don't have to meet them. You do what is right for you and your family. If your sister feels guilty and wants you to stay so she can go and alleviate her guilt, no. She can do what she wants too, but you are not responsible for how she feels. Don't let others dictate how you should handle things. And what's grinding me is my sister and Mom go to my husband to relay info about what's going on with her, not me. I don't know if it's because I'm on my last straw with my mom for not going to the doctor like we've been telling her for months now, and she can probably sense it. We all knew this would happen, and my mom was putting up a major fight to even be in the hospital. Have you talked to your sister about this? Is your mother staying in the hospital for long? Sending your family well wishes and a speedy recovery for your mother? We have. She said since she was the one who was with Mom all day, I should sit in with her for at least a couple hours by myself. But I'm with her all day anyway, since I stay home with my daughter while living with my mom. They said the latest Mom would be at the hospital is Friday. Thank you. I think this is a tough situation in which neither you nor your sister are the a-hole here. Your mother is actually the one asking both of you to drop everything for her when she seems okay enough? A visit every day is plenty, and spending the whole day with her is way too much. We weren't able to visit yesterday because she didn't get a room until late, and our kiddo was already down for bed. So we already made the decision to visit today, but then my sister had to bring up that since we kept our plans for the night, and she had to cancel hers that we should stay with Mom for a little bit today. And I got frustrated because she has no idea what we've been going through with her outside of this hospital stay. You're not an a-hole for wanting a break from being the primary caregiver, especially given how much you've already been doing. It's understandable that your sister is frustrated, but it seems like you've been doing the bulk of the caretaking for months, which is a lot to handle on top of caring for your own family. You're right to feel like it's not unfair for your sister to adjust her plans once in a while, especially when you've been making sacrifices every day. That said, I understand that family dynamics can make situations like this feel extra charged. It might help to have a calm discussion with your sister, to express your feelings, and let her know how much you and your husband are already doing. Communication is key, especially when everyone is dealing with stress. So, no, you're not the a-hole for wanting to balance things out a bit more. But if you want to avoid future conflict, it might help to have a sit-down and talk about sharing responsibilities in a way that feels fair to everyone. It's just been so exhausting. I'm tired of being expected to bend when I don't have much bend to give anymore. Update: my sister yet again had to stay at the hospital with my mom, but had to take her cat to the vet and asked me if I'd be able to go stay with Mom for a couple hours, and I said I can't because I don't have the car seat to take my 2-year-old daughter with me. She had her fiance yet again stay with Mom. I just got a call from my sister and it's going to be a couple more days before she comes home. I'm expected, along with my husband and daughter, to go sit at the hospital tomorrow after my doctor's appointment. I told my sister I don't know how my daughter will be if we stay any longer than we did yesterday, which was 3 hours. I told my husband I refuse to stay with my mom all day at the hospital. And then Saturday, I don't know what's going on. I keep asking my husband why my mom needs someone there at all times, no matter who it is. She is under the care of nurses and doctors, and I feel having someone in the room all day is detrimental to a nurse's job, especially having a child in the room for more than an hour. I totally understand she's scared, but she's been doing fine. I'm always with her at home, every day for the last 2 years. I've been taking care of her for months now, and now that she landed in the hospital because of her own choice not to take care of herself, I can't get any help and being relied on while I'm also taking care of a toddler on top of everything else? I'm beyond frustrated, but I'm feeling incredibly guilty because I don't want to stay with my mom for longer than 2 hours at the hospital. Now for the comments. Just don't do it. You don't owe your sister an explanation other than you can't because it's not convenient, possible, feasible, or you just don't want to. However you want to say it. Your mom's expectation is unreasonable and unnecessary, not the a-hole. You have a great reason not to go, and it is your son. Do not feel guilty. Now I also tell you, mother, there is only one. I would try to stay even for a little while. I get that. I do. We already planned on visiting during her time there, but my sister is dictating when and how we do it, which isn't right since we have a 2-year-old. Why are you saying this as if your sister runs your life? If you don't want to be there, don't be there. She doesn't, but she tries to, because she is also a people pleaser. I'm just now breaking free from that tendency. She wants to find a way to alleviate her guilt by having me take over, and I'm not about to bend to her guilt when it's not my own. You seem to have a very hard time simply setting a boundary. You could just say no to any of these requests. Or when you do go over, you can simply leave when you're ready, or when your kid seems to be done. But you seem to want more than that. You want your mom to stop asking. You want your husband to explain why she is asking. You want to be angry that your mom is there because of choices she made. That's all silly and pointless. Just go, visit as you can, are willing to, and that's it. You're right on the boundary setting. It seems my sister can't do that either. I don't want to be angry though. I've been relied on so much the last 6 months that I feel my sister asking me to do even more than I'm doing now isn't fair to me. I take care of the house and grocery shopping for my mom while I'm also tending to my child. I am on my last straw. All my sister has done is help with the yard work in this 6-month time frame. I think she should offer up some of her time to alleviate me and my husband, since we've already done so much and are currently doing so much. There is absolutely no reason to go stay there all day every day with a hospitalized person. An hour or 2 is fine, and your sister needs her head examined if she expects you to drag your 2 years old to sit there for more than an hour or 2. Tell sis, it's her choice to do that, but as a sane and rational person, you are not adhering to her idiotic schedule. You might want to say it in better words. LOL. Not the a-hole. I was in the hospital a few months ago, and nobody came to visit me. I didn't mind because I know my adult children have lives, and 2 of them have small children. Seems your sister is treating your mother like a child, and mom is sucking it up. No adult needs constant visitors. Unfortunately, it's my mom that feels she needs someone there. When we were visiting, my sister was there as well, and she said she needed to head out because of plans made, and we needed to leave to get mom's clothes washed and daughter fed. My sister asked mom if she'd be okay without someone there, and all she said was, I guess. So my sister felt obligated to stay, and was only relieved around 6 because of her fiancé. Her fiancé stayed till 9 p.m., which was the end of visiting hours. If you can't, you can't. But there are numerous studies that show patients with loved ones present at all times receive better care and have better outcomes than those who don't. While I do agree with that completely, my mom had multiple different nurses coming in, and they all genuinely seemed annoyed we were there, because not only did we have a toddler there for 3 hours, we were in their way of getting things done because there were 5 people in the room at the same time. We thought my sister would have left when we got there, but she didn't. Plus, it feels like we are being manipulated to be there just to be there because my sister was supposed to leave yesterday, and she ended up staying after we left. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for accidentally ruining my autistic boyfriend's safe food? My boyfriend loves stew. He wants to eat it every day for every meal. His favorite stew is beef tips and vegetables from a local place, but it's really expensive. Like $47 for a big bowl. They don't do small orders for takeout. And he is grossed out by leftovers, so more than half of it gets wasted. We've had a couple of arguments about it. He says I don't understand his brain. I say he doesn't understand our budget. Recently, I looked up some recipes, including doing a dissection of the takeout soup, and tried my hand at making a home-cooked replacement for stew night. He loved it for a few days, and then one night he was hanging out with me in the kitchen and saw me put tomato paste into the pot. He was really upset and demanded that I make the soup without the paste. I told him it wouldn't taste the same, and he said it would be better because he hates tomatoes. They're not a safe food for him. So I made the soup with no tomato paste, and big surprise, something felt off about it to him. Instead of admitting that the tomato paste was necessary, he threw a fit and told me he didn't want home-cooked food anymore. If I was going to play with him and not take his safe food seriously, he thinks I changed more than just the tomato paste in an effort to get him to admit he was wrong. $400 in stew orders. Later, I had an idea to ask the chef when we were picking up the order if there was any tomato products in the stew, and lo and behold, there is tomato in the recipe, effing tomato paste. In my mind, this was great because I thought he would get over it if he knew his original perfect stew had tomato paste, like, oh, I guess tomato paste isn't so bad then. But it was the exact opposite. He walked out of the restaurant without saying anything, and then refused to eat the stew that night and hasn't ordered it again. And he's been ignoring me while sulking around the house, using his whiny voice a lot, and slamming things. His sister also texted me to tell me I'm a selfish asshole for needing to get back at him by taking his favorite food away. I literally just wanted to stop spending insane amounts of money on stew. I wasn't trying to hurt him or ruin his life. I'm not autistic. I can't really wrap my head around caring this much about a single ingredient. I genuinely didn't see this reaction coming. We've been together for 4 years, and he's only had 3 other fits like this. The other ones were pretty reasonable. Those were also a little less intense and didn't include input from his family. This is the first time anyone in his family has ever spoke to me like this. So I've been back and forth between y'all are overreacting and what have I done? Am I the a-hole? It sounds so dumb when I write it all out, but living it has made me feel physically sick with regret. I can't think straight anymore. Edit to add, I'm getting ready for work right now, so I can't respond to individual comments. But there's some recurring confusion questions I wanted to clear up, because it might affect the answers. 1. The Stew Place is a catering place with a mini restaurant, so every time we order takeout, we're ordering a catering amount pretty much. It's not stew made of gold lol. 2. We order from there 2 to 3 nights a week. It's not the only thing he eats, it's just the top 5 foods for him. He doesn't eat this unreasonably every single day. 3. He has a job and contributes with money. I'm not funding his entire diet. We do mix money, so even though he pays for the meal half the time, it does still feel like we're losing money. He works part-time and I work full-time. Bills are probably split 70-30. Now for the comments, not the a-hole. He needs to pay for his own food if he needs to be this specific about it. I'm autistic with severe food aversion, and your partner is being a bum. He may be autistic, but he's still the one in control of his emotions and shouldn't be taking them out on you. Stew is also a safe food for me. I couldn't tell you why, and tomatoes are not, but that's actual tomatoes. I had to train my brain to recognize that tomato paste or sauce is different from actual raw tomatoes, and it made it easier for me. He could try giving himself little bits to help calm his anxieties and frustration of the food, like the pastes or sauces, not the actual tomatoes. I also wasn't diagnosed until later in life, though, so I had a lot of people belittle me over my food intake, and I would hold certain foods in my mouth just to pass social etiquette until I could spit it out of sight. Not saying what they did was right. Not at all, but it did allow me to become more comfortable with foods, and I say that while still only eating dinners, as lunch or breakfast foods make me feel sick, even to think of. Not the a-hole, I'm autistic. And tomatoes are a huge no for me because of texture. But if I know I like it, then the ingredients don't really matter. If anything, I would have been happy I can explore other foods I thought I wouldn't like because they had tomato paste in them. He is not autistic, he is a pampered a-hole. You're dating a effing child, autistic or not. Maybe it's time to reevaluate the relationship because he sounds beyond exhausting. I get aversions to foods because I have foods I can't eat. Bananas for the texture I just can't deal with at all, as well as tomatoes myself. But throwing a whole tantrum? No. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Autism brings many, many challenges. But it's not an excuse for a functioning autistic adult to treat you that way over a food. I have a very similar relationship with food that most people with autism do. I hate store-bought spaghetti sauce. I make my own because I know how it's made and what's in it. But if my mom and my boyfriend make me spaghetti with Prego sauce, I'm not going to throw a fit like I have zero emotional regulation over it. If he can't function enough to understand these things, then he's not functioning enough to have a job, or a car, or a house, or a wife, or children, or care for himself. You need to sit him down and lay it out. This ends now, or he can go back to his parents, where he is just an autistic child, rather than an adult man with autism. Not the a-hole. Look, I don't have autism, so I can't precisely relate. However, I am neurodivergent, suspected ADHD. I understand the concept of safe foods. I'm particularly averse to the texture of cooked onions, specifically slimy chunks of onion. However, I love the taste, and it wasn't until a friend of mine suggested trying raw onion, because I would prefer the crunch, that I started loving them. He needs to be willing to try things that may feel wrong or unsafe regarding food. As you said, his favorite meal contained tomato paste, and he liked it before he knew that. I suspect the thought of it is worse than the actual taste. I've eaten a mushroom dip before and discovered I didn't mind the taste, but finding out it was mushrooms put me off. I don't think he should be blaming you for trying to cheaply recreate the stew so he could have it more often for less. His family should not be getting involved or talking to you in a negative way. He needs to either only pay for the stew himself from now on, or whatever other foods he wants, or he sucks it up and accepts there's a small amount of tomato paste in his favorite food, and yet he still likes it.
Thank you for listening. If you like the video, consider like and subscribe. If you want more stories like these, turn on your notification to receive the latest stories.